Justice Democrats are currently ripping the mask off of the deep corruption that we have in the U.S. government. So take a look at this. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted this a few days ago. Right now, freshman members of Congress are at a bipartisan orientation with briefings on issues. Invited panelists offer insights to inform new Congress members' views as they prepare to legislate. Number of corporate CEOs we've listened to here, 4. Number of labor leaders, 0. She continues. This Harvard session, that's who sponsored it, has been going on for new Congress members since the 1970s. This year, we heard things like, the $2 trillion tax cut was great, and $15 minimum wage is a bad idea. No labor reps were there. Was this a multi-decade pro-corporate lobbyist project the entire time? Yes. Yes, that's exactly what it was. It's exactly what it is. Not was, is. And so Rashida Tlaib weighed in as well. Gary Cohn, she went on to correct that. She put Cohen, but she went on to correct it because it's Cohn. Gary Cohn, former CEO, Goldman Sachs, addressing new members of Congress today, quote, "You guys are way over your head. You don't know how the game is played. No, Gary, you don't know what's coming. A revolutionary Congress that puts people over profits." This is exactly what Justice Democrats is about. And this is exactly what our revolution is about, and this is exactly what the PCCC is about, and this is exactly what Democratic Socialists of America are about. These are actual people, regular people, working people, who are now in Congress, and they understand something. They understand that they're not there to hold hands and get along with the establishment and with the old guard and with politics as usual. They understand that they were elected to do exactly what they're doing here, which is to shake things up in Washington and to go, hold on now. All of these things that you guys just kind of casually accepted and acted like, well, it's totally normal. I don't know what you're talking about. This right here is deep corruption. That's what this is. And guys, the most stunning part is we never even knew about this all this time. We never even knew about it. This is just when you show up as a new congressperson, you're ushered off to an event, and that event is sponsored by Harvard, so you're supposed to think, yes, Harvard, very serious people, very smart people, they know the way everything works, yes. So you're ushered into that event, and then it's corporate lobbyist after corporate lobbyist. By the way, Jeff Stein pointed out of the Washington Post, there wasn't even disclosure. So these are people who, this is, on paper, this is sponsored by Harvard, and these are people telling us how the system works, but they're lobbyists, and they're taking money from giant corporations, and they don't even disclose it. Because some of them are former congresspeople who are now lobbyists. And listen, you hear how smug and arrogant, like, Gary Cohn is. The idea that Gary Cohn, this is an apolitical event, this is like a bipartisan event, they're just explaining how things work. Gary Cohn from Goldman Sachs literally took an exit bonus from Goldman Sachs of $200 million. And then he's the one who was one of the strongest influences in getting the Republican tax cut package passed. And that tax cut bill, 83% of the benefits went to the top 1%. Massively helped Goldman Sachs, him and his buddies. So, but again, he's presented as if it's like, oh no, this is just a guy who understands how the system works, and he's just dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's and telling you the way it's supposed to function. Yeah, sit down and shut up. Fresh faces. So, the corruption is framed as a duh. That's the biggest thing to take away from this, guys. The corruption is framed as this is just how the system functions. And to question it is you're just being naive, and you're just being silly, and you're just being childish. Like, obviously, once you get here, you have bipartisan meetings where lobbyists and corporatists tell you how everything really works. Obviously, that's why. And that really is the point of it. Yeah, bring in the corporatists to tell these new people who think we can actually make the world a better place, make this country a better place. Bring in the corporatists to tell them that's silly, that's ridiculous. Quote, you guys are way over your head. You don't know how the game is played. Or maybe, as Rashida Tlaib pointed out, as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pointed out, and as every other Justice Democrat believes, maybe you're the exact problem with the system, Gary Cohn. Maybe these lobbyists are the exact problem with the system. Maybe it's time to fundamentally change the way politics works. And the thing is, guys, even like to this point, nobody blew the whistle on this kind of stuff. Nobody blew the whistle on it. And listen, you can't even necessarily blame the people who didn't blow the whistle, because these forces are powerful. So in other words, you could be forgiven for actually thinking like, what do you mean? I guess this is the way it works. I guess I'm one person. I can't really change it. So even if I don't like it, I'll just sit down and shut up and kind of let this bipartisan meeting happen. And I'll just sit back and know my place. And hey, I'm new here and they've been here and maybe they are going to give me some information that I can use going forward. And so that's how they brainwash you into the system. That's what they do. They frame it as a duh. Like, what do you mean? Of course. This is the way it works. To think otherwise is just childish. Like, what? Of course this is how it works. Duh. And look at the figures who are put forth as if it's like, oh, these are the serious people. Like, oh, this Goldman Sachs lackey. He's a serious person. He's a deeply corrupt person. Again, AOC said it. 0 labor leaders. 0 labor leaders. 0 activists. 0 people who are... academics. Academics. Why not have an economist, an MMT economist, a Keynesian economist? Hey, listen, now you're going to be responsible in part for the economy and spending bills, and so we need to talk about, the details of how the system actually functions. I mean, it's sheer insanity that they're not meeting like, hey, let's meet, some of the people who were the creators of single-payer healthcare systems in other countries and talk to these healthcare experts, and then you'll get a sense of maybe how we can craft bills moving forward. It's none of that. It's none of the serious work of governing and representing the people. Immediately, they're like, okay, now here's how you sell out. We need more Justice Democrats in there, man. We do. We need them. We need more Justice Democrats, because you're not... If you don't have politicians who are clear from day one when they get into politics, what their ideology is, what their philosophy is, what they represent, if you don't have that, even relatively strong-willed people can get pushed aside by the system and can get eaten alive by the system. And they can become the next person who sits back and goes, maybe this is just how it works and I got to go along with it to some extent. Try to do good where I can, but I guess this is just kind of how it is. But the thing about Justice Democrats is everybody who became a Justice Democrat, they knew what they were getting into when they signed up. They knew, okay, listen, we're not just talking the talk here, we're going to walk the walk. You're not allowed to take corporate PAC money. We want you to raise money through small dollar donations. And that's going to put you at a disadvantage, but we have to do it because we have to be uncorrupted. All right, you want to be a Justice Democrat? You have to support Medicare for all. You have to support a living wage. You have to do it. You can't not do it. This is what it means to be a Justice Democrat. So these people were enthusiastic. Yes, I can't wait to get to Washington and do right by my constituents and represent the people. And we're right on the issues. Look at the polling data. They're with us. So they have a clear mission when they get there. These are exceptional human beings who their whole point is to do right by everybody who voted for them and the people who didn't vote for them. It's policy issues that really drive them. And now you see what happens when true believers in fixing the country butt heads with Washington, D.C. Again, It's absolutely stunning that the likes of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and the old guard, the Democratic establishment, they're so smug and arrogant, and they've gotten so used to the corruption that they probably didn't even occur to them, like, hey, maybe AOC and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and the rest of them, maybe they won't play ball. Maybe they'll blow the whistle immediately and say, this is nuts. What are we doing here? We have to change this. At some point, they're going to do everything they can to undermine her. That's what's going to happen. It already comes from the right. We've already seen it. They're trying to say she's like Sarah Palin, which is comical. But the corporate Democrats are going to do the same thing. The corporate Democrats are going to say, because they're slowly trying to co-opt her, like, okay, let's make her, understand the way the game is played, and she'll get it, and she's not going to play ball with you. She's there for a reason. All these Justice Democrats are there for a reason, trying to represent their constituents. So, at some point, they're going to turn. And they're going to smear them. This is one of the things that everybody's got to be prepared for, man, because this is what happens. If you're really making a difference, they will smear you. That's what it is. If you're really making a difference, they'll try to act like you're beyond the pale. Look at this thing you said or this thing you did. Was it 8 years ago? I don't care, but look at what you said and did. It's terrible. Yeah, come on. Whoever believes in decency and civility cannot accept X, fill in the blank with whatever they're going to try to smear them with. Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait, because they do that with people who actually want to make a difference. So, it's great that we learned about this, but we need more Justice Democrats in there. Because we need everybody on the Democratic side who's elected to look at the business as usual and to go, yeah, no, I hate it. Nope. Not going to play along with this. This is terrible. This is exactly what's wrong with Washington. This is why Congress oftentimes has an approval rating as low as 9%. It's because of what you're doing right now. It's because of this. It's because of this right here. Oh, that's just the way everything works, and who are we to change it? No, we can change it. You know how you change it? You change it. That's how you change it. So, what do you mean? We have to accept fucking Goldman Sachs telling us what to do. No, you don't. And again, they think this is bipartisan or apolitical even. Like, well, of course a tax cut for the rich, $2 trillion is fine. Of course that's great. Of course, being against the minimum wage is the duh position. Of course. No more of courses like that. The of courses are going to be on the opposite side. The of courses are going to be we need a living wage. The of courses are going to be we need Medicare for all. The of courses are going to be we need free college. We need to end the wars. We need to legalize marijuana. Those are going to be the of course positions, but we need to fight to get to that point. But this is the beginning of something that's exactly what this country needs. The return of the populist left. That's what this is. The return of basically the New Deal left. People who actually stand for something. Actually fighting for social democracy. The Democrats became neoliberal, corporate centrists a long time ago, and they've had decades in control, and that got us Donald Trump. So now it's time to fight back with something that actually makes sense. And isn't it great when you see people who are elected who actually believe in something and are willing to fight?